To help your friends, your brothers survive. Each and every one of us has it in us. Thankfully, we just don't face the same circumstances.
When I arrived at the hospital, the commandant, after examination, told me that he would have to do a guillotine amputation, which meant sort of chopping off the stump and putting a stitch over it and allow it to drain, because they had no penicillin or antibiotics that were strong enough. They could only use maggots to get rid of the dead skin. Wow. And prevent gangrene. Yes, it was on my right leg, just above the ankle. And he said that I would have to have a reamputation when I got back to Canada, because he wasn't familiar with the type of prosthesis available at the time. So it was really a very far-sighted view on the doctor's part, something I had no appreciation or understanding for. My impression was, well, Jesus, once would be enough, you know. But at that time, it was an American POW who had the same blood group, and he supplied the transfusion during the surgery. Wow. And so the surgery went on, and I was unconscious after that for, they tell me, about 3 days before I came to again. And it was at that time that I could see, well, now I don't have a leg. You know, you're on the table and you're saying, well, you know, do something. You don't want to lose your leg, because in those days employment was very physical, mostly physical, and so I wanted to be able to you know, get a job of some sort and make my way in life, if you will. And I wasn't looking forward to a reamputation, but the reality was that after I did get back, and I did end up in Christie Street Hospital in Toronto, the reamputation was a piece of cake, really. We had all the antibiotics necessary. We had the painkillers that we needed. We didn't rely on an aspirin, which that's about all the Germans had, were aspirins, you know. Aspirins and a cigarette. So I remember waking up the next morning after the operation and feeling an urge for the bathroom, and I just took my crutches and went to the bathroom and got back into bed, and the nurse was surprised to know that I was out of bed, you know. There was no suffering at all. I mean, it was, I think a toothache would have been more painful. See, the 28th of June was after D-Day, and once the Allies established a foothold, the progress was pretty rapid, except for hold-ups here and there. But the Germans came in one morning. It was the same commandant, and he came into the room and left the door open behind him. He had a bottle of cognac in his under his arm and some shot glasses. And he poured a drink for everybody in the room and said, by 3 o'clock this afternoon, you should be liberated by your troops coming forward. and I wish you all well. And so we all had a cognac, and that was it. And we were told to stay in our rooms because there would be, lots of German soldiers moving back and forth, and they didn't want any incidents. And so as close as possible, we did that. But I guess the Russians didn't understand English or French so well. And the first thing you know, there's a hell of a rumpus going on. And they came into our room and dropped a case of champagne and a few bottles of cognac, and they made us understand, well, we're going to have a party, So we went downstairs, and in the officers' mess, they had liberated the booze down there, and they had this stuff by the case. It was, I filled up a kit bag full of cognac and champagne. And I remember the Americans, when they came to pick us up to take us back to a field hospital, and they tried to lift me up, and the guy said, Christ, you look so skinny. How the hell can you be so heavy? It was just all the booze, yeah.
Stu, thank you very much for sharing this adventure with us. And just remember that we are here to save our history. We're going to save Halifax's. And that's important to us, is to tell that full story. So we, as long as you would like it, we will share your adventures with our viewers and our members. Is that fine by you?
It's fine by me. I didn't think anybody would be interested, to tell you the truth.
No, we love it, man. We love it.
Yeah.
So, but can I just shake your hand?
My pleasure to shake your hand. And the work that you're doing, it's remarkable. It's very selfless, and I see now very necessary, and you're doing a damn good job.
Well, we're having fun, and we're saving history. Okay, Stu, in a nutshell, if you had to say it quickly, how important is the Halifax bomber to Canada and its history?
I think Canada doesn't realize how important the Halifax is to them. It was the aircraft that did 75% of the bombing damage in Europe, and was able to soften Europe up enough for all the other aircraft to take part and share the glory. But I'm like a lot of people that flew Halifaxes, disappointed that there isn't more talk about Halifaxes.
Well, we'll get her done.
Okay, good for you. Thanks again.